Assalamu alaikum everyone. Let's look at this question. This is a February 2019 question, and this is considered one of the most trickiest question regarding functions and composite functions. Of course, there are some parts which are straightforward. So let's get started. I'm doing the whole question and the focus will be technically on the last part. Now, the first part, this is about completing square method. First thing first, make sure coefficient of x square is 1, which is the case over here. The first two terms are written as it is. The constant is pushed to the last. First add, then subtract square of half the coefficient of x. What is the coefficient of x? -4. So you would add -2, square of each term. Rewrite the first three terms as a perfect square. So now these three terms, this is x -2 whole square, -4 plus 7. This comes out to be x -2 whole square plus 3. This is in the completed square form. And always remember, we will always compare it with the standard form, which is x minus h whole square plus k. Since the coefficient of x square is positive, the graph has a minimum shape. H equals to 2, k equals to 3. So 2, 3 is the coordinate of the turning point, which is in fact a minimum point. Now, I always have this habit, whether they have asked this thing or not, I have a habit of writing it down. In most cases, it's useful. Now, let's move to the second part. What does it say? Now, the question says that the function f is defined by such and such. So, this is the function, and x is less than k, where k is a constant. Now, this k over here has nothing to do with our k. Our k is a bit different. State the largest value for which f is a decreasing function. Now, it has something to do with the turning point. If I draw a graph of this, a small sketch, the turning point is 2, 3. So this is 2, this is 3. That is the coordinate of the turning point, and we are going to the left of turning point. So x is less than k. So therefore, if I draw the graph is like this. So now if I go less than 2, this is a 1-to-1 function. It has an inverse, and it also has a negative slope. Negative slope means dy by dx is less than 0. Now, I have jotted down few things. Normally, this question, when it comes, it is about a 1-to-1 function. We know that only 1-to-1 function has an inverse. So this next statement is about having an inverse. These two are interrelated. Okay? So these two are interrelated like this. Only 1-to-1 function has an inverse. Inverse only exists for a 1-to-1 function. Negative slope. If I draw a tangent somewhere over here, that slope will be negative. So in which range of values of x, for which range of values of x will the slope be negative? It will be lesser than 2. But lesser than 2, there are lots and lots of values, out of which the greatest value, the largest value will be 2. The same question could have been asked in a different way. The question could say, state the smallest value of k. Let me change the question. So they can ask us for the smallest value of k for which the function is an increasing function. And the question would be something like this. That means this time my graph would have been drawn this way. The dy by dx would be positive. That's why it's an increasing function. And still the answer remains the same. The answer is whether they ask for the greatest value or they ask for the least value or the smallest value. that value would always be the x coordinate of turning point. If they ask for the greatest value, they would be going to the right of turning point, actually left of turning point. And if they ask for the least value, they would be going to the right of turning point. In any case, that constant would be the x coordinate of turning point. Now, the next step. The next step is the value of k is now given to be 1. So let me draw the small section once again. This time we are going to the left of the turning point. That means this time this is 1. And when I plug in 1 in this equation, what do I get? 1 minus 2 is minus 1, square would be 1, and 1 plus 3 would be 4. So now my graph would be something like this. So the turning point was over here, and something like this, that would be the graph. And this is 1 comma 4. That is the coordinate of this point. This is not the turning point. The turning point was somewhere over here. That was 2 comma 3. This is left of the turning point. So ignore this part. Now when I look at this question, what do I see? There is an fx. There is an f inverse x. Domain, range. Domain and range. Domain of fx is x is lesser than k. So x is lesser than k, which is x is lesser than 1. So therefore the range is fx is greater than 4, because that was close to the minimum point, and now it's rising up because that's how the shape of the graph is. And flip-flop, what happens? This would be x is greater than 4 and f inverse x would be lesser than 1. What have they asked for? They have asked for state the domain of f inverse. Domain of f inverse is actually range of f, and expression for f inverse, that is basic O-level stuff. Let y equals to fx. Therefore, f inverse y equals to x. Therefore, y is equals to, what is the expression? X minus 2 whole square plus 3. I hope everyone remembers that whenever we have to find the inverse function, so for expression for inverse function, make sure the original quadratic equation, the original function is in the completed square form. Otherwise, how will you make x the subject of the equation? So therefore, y minus 3 is x minus 2 whole square. Y minus 3 square root is equals to x minus 2. Give the square root a negative sign. Why? Because we are going left of turning point. So therefore, x is equals to 2 minus square root y minus 3. But remember, but x is equals to f inverse y. It's written right over here. But we have a habit of writing everything in terms of x. So therefore, first of all, this would be written in terms of y, or f inverse x is equals to 2 minus square root x minus 3. That is the expression for this part. Now, how many marks have we earned so far? We have earned 2 marks for completing square, 1 mark for this basic question. Of course, I am taking a little bit more time to explain the scenario in detail and find an expression for f inverse. So maybe 1 mark for this, or 2 marks for this, and 1 mark for this part. So now let's move to the last part. Now for the last part, what does the question says? First of all, do I need the fx expression? Yes, I do need it. So let me write it over here. Fx is x minus 2 whole square plus 3. That is this one. And what is the domain? X minus 2 whole square plus 3. The domain of fx is x is lesser than 1. The range of fx is greater than 4. Similarly, we have a function now, gx, which is a reciprocal function. This is 2 over x minus 1. The domain of this function is x is greater than 1. Now, what else do we need? It says find an expression for g of fx. That is not that big of a deal. And state the range of gf. Now, the thing is, first of all, let's get something straightened out. The first thing is, there are three functions. Let me label it and give you a brief idea. The first function is, they are talking about g of x. So gf means first f, then g, that is g of fx. That means we have the domain of f, the range of f, the domain of g, the range of g. So now whenever you do this thing, do it with a class. First of all, will gf exist? That is one of the questions that people ask a lot. The examiner asks a lot. Will gf exist? Yes, it will exist if and only if the range of f is a domain, is a subset of domain of g. Keep that in mind. Whatever you are getting out of f, that is the range. That complete thing could be the domain of g, or part of that could be the domain of g. That is why we have used the term subset. So range of f should be a subset of domain of g. What else are they asking? They are also asking something about gf. If I talk about gf, what is happening? We are taking f, first f, then g. So gf means first f, then g. That means for gf, the domain of f is also the domain of gf. Makes sense? And the range of f is the same thing as for the range of g. My bad. The range of g will be the range of gf. Let's get this thing straightened out. So for the function gf, what does gf means? First f, then g. First f, then g. For this thing, for gf, the domain is the domain of f, domain of gf is domain of f, and range of gf is actually range of g. That means if I have the function g, do I have g? Of course I have g. So g of x, that is 2 over x minus 1. But what domain will you put in? The domain of g is given as x is greater than 1. But in order for this to exist, range of f, which is this one, greater than 4, is a subset of greater than 1. Does it make sense? Range of f is like this. So range of f is greater than 4. So this is 4 and this is range of f. And this is 1. This is domain of g. Is range of f a subset of domain of g? The answer is yes. So now what will you put in? You will put in 4 because that is the subset. So g of 4, that is 2 over 4 minus 1. That comes out to be 2/3. That is the first thing that I got. Now what else? What else do we need to calculate? Now, will it be greater than 2/3? Will it be lesser than 2/3? What will it be? So now, isn't this thing a good idea that I start to sketch this thing? So a little bit of sketch is also required. So if I sketch this thing, this is a reciprocal function. So it goes like this. This is x-axis. This is y-axis. 2 over x minus 1. This one is like 2 over x shifted 1 unit to the right. Transformation of function. So if this is shifted 1 unit to the right, this is what you will get. So now I'll draw the vertical asymptote, which is x is equals to 1. And the shape of the graph is something like this. So let me draw it. It would be something like this. more accurately, like this and like this. But the domain is x is greater than 4. So when I plug in 4 over here, my y value is coming out to be 2/3. I can see it on the side. Now when I am getting g of 4 is 2/3 and it's getting very close to the y-axis, so therefore the range of gf is lying between 0 and 2/3. It's greater than 0, lesser than 2/3. That is the answer. So this is the approach that I took for this part. Now which part is left? Find an expression for g of fx. Now how would we find g of fx? Plug in fx in gx. So g of fx is basically 2 over x minus 1, which is 2 over gx, actually fx minus 1. Let me write it straightened out. This is fx minus 1. This is 2 over, I can use the expression, the original one, x square minus 4x plus 7. So this is 2 over x square minus 4x plus 7 minus 1, which can be written as 2 over x square minus 4x plus 6. That's one way of writing it. Another way, g of fx, this is 2 over fx minus 1. So fx is x minus 2 whole square plus 3 minus 1, which is the same thing as 2 over x minus 2 whole square plus 2, which of course can be further simplified, which is x minus 2 whole square, that is x square minus 4x plus 4 and plus 2. So therefore this is the same thing, 2 over x square minus 4x plus 6. But you cannot get this thing out of this particular part. Well, it won't be easy for the P1 people, because then you have to factorize it and it would be some strange kind of a graph. So the better method is, yes, use the transformation of function, take help from the graph thing a bit, take help from the idea that the composite function will exist, what is the condition, what should be the domain, and for the composite function, domain of f is the composite, is the domain of gf, and range of g is the range of gf. So that's how this question is to be done, and it is not a very easy question, that's for sure. So this thing is only for 4 marks in total, 2 marks for the expression, 2 marks for this part. That means if this question comes in the exam, keep this for the very last, return to it at the very end. Last piece of advice, that is, don't let it roam around in your head. Don't be paranoid by this question. Do it at the very last. Take care.